We are going to be having a panel discussion on the topic Transforming Credit Accessibility, the role of UPI in expanding credit lines. To moderate this very interesting session, we have here with us Mr. Mohit Bedi, co-founder and Chief Business Officer, Kiwi. Let's have a huge round of applause for him, please. So, very warm welcome to you. I request you to please take your seat. I would now like to invite our speakers on stage. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Naveen Chaluvadi, Chief Digital Officer, Yes Bank. Welcome, sir. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Srinivas Iyer, Head Digital Lending and Partnerships, Axis Bank. Very warm welcome, sir. I now request Mr. Niraj Tralshawala, Head Payment Solutions, Consumer Finance and PayLater, ICICI Bank Limited. Very warm welcome to all of you. Welcome, sir. Over to you, Mr. Bedi.
All right, thank you everyone for attending this last session. Couldn't have been a better timing. We are running 1 hour late, so we'll try and take this quickly. But welcome Naveen, Srini and Niraj. You guys are old friends. It's a small industry and we know each other so well. So I'll try and get straight into it. What we are trying to address here is getting the affordability or the trying to transform credit with the new age products that are coming in, which is credit accessibility. So what I wanted to understand from at least what the outcome we are trying to get to out of this session is how can we grow the same and try and democratize credit. And I know each of your expertise is different, right? So I'll straight get into you, Naveen, and we've spoken so much offline, but Yes Bank has been a pioneer as far as supporting fintechs is concerned. We all know what you've achieved with PhonePe, how you've transformed what Paytm went through and how you transformed and gave them such massive support. It is commendable what Yes has done. And I just wanted to understand all this was on UPI on savings rail, right? So we are trying to democratize credit. What is your take as to what is the next phase and how is it going to go about as far as UPI on credit is concerned? Is it credit cards, credit lines? And how are you planning to take it? Because you guys are all about scale.
So thanks everyone for having us here, and Mohit, coming straight to what you have broached about. If we see, there were savings accounts from so many years, but if you have to look at usability of these accounts or usage of these accounts, this has grown multifold only and only after the UPI has come, which means, I mean, even Finnacles and FlexCubes, when they were developed, probably they would have thought that a customer would do, say, 50 transactions a year. Right now with UPI, we see almost 50 transactions every week for a customer who is actively using on UPI. What UPI has done is it has made instruments which were enabled for financial savings accessible and usable, more usable. So whether it's PhonePe, Paytm or any other TPAPs or any other banking applications which have done this have definitely played a key role in making the accounts more using. Same way, I believe if you have seen people who have been using RuPay credit card on UPI versus the normal credit spends. I mean, the credit spends have increased at least by 25 to 30% is what we have seen in the population that we have seen. And more importantly, now people are going to an extent saying stop UPI so that you can save money. So I'm just joking, but then what it's telling is in terms of saying any instrument which is made accessible on UPI has definitely been made more usable. That is point one. Point two, now with new things which are coming, which is whether it is a UPI circle where this particular rail as a mechanism is going beyond the instrument. Now in the first phase, of course, the UPI circle users probably will be able to only access my savings account. But it's not, the day is not very far when the circle members, whether it is my family member or whether it is my household help or office help, they can also dip into my credit instruments, which means again we are looking at broad basing the usage of the credit lines or credit cards or any instrument which is linked on UPI. That is my first take on this particular thing.
Yeah. So we should get back to that also. But Srini, coming to you, you manage the entire digital partnerships piece besides other things in Access, and it's been lovely working with you on that side also. And as Naveen was mentioning now, कि credit cards and credit lines will actually democratize. But थोड़ा blur हो जाता है line, right? Between what credit card is, because it's also a 50 days interest free credit and then you start evolving. And credit line, that product is still evolving. And Niraj, I'll come and quiz you on that sooner or later. But what is your take? Is there is the audience mutually exclusive, or there is an overlapping audience between credit card and credit lines?
Okay, so I'll address the second point first. So you see that the credit line product is an excellent product for customers who are uncarded, right? So as a stepping stone, so guys who do not come under the purview of credit cards, to sort of get them into the the financial inclusion piece, credit line is an excellent product, right? So depending on the spends and basically the repayment pattern, you could sort of upgrade them to a credit card, right? So that is where is the exclusive audience, right? Now you look at both credit line and credit card on UPI, both of them give access to credit. And both of them serve a different purpose and cater to different financial behaviors. So credit line typically is an affordable, flexible, cost-effective option for borrowing in the short term. And the credit card option gives you a revolving credit facility, right? With added benefits like rewards and with potentially higher costs, right? So depending on the user's needs, whether it's been routine spending or emergency funds or to maximize rewards, the user could suitably use either of those depending on what he wants, right? And there is a substantial overlap. I will not say no, but it depends on what is it that the customer is looking at, right? So if you look at the cost of credit line typically lower interest charges compared to a credit card, and a credit line is typically it works like a personal loan or basically an OD, right? And the setup. So if you look at the charges, you would have possibly setup charges and basically a monthly charges, right? One-time setup charges. A credit card, you will have the annual charges and higher penalties and if God forbid, if you sort of do not pay the entire balance, right? The interest gets accrued on the entire amount, right? So depending on what the guy wants to use, there is a flexibility for the customer to choose between a credit line depending on what is the spends that he's making. And it's a beautiful combination of using either a credit line and a credit card. So my answer to all my friends, including my colleagues who are in the cards team, is boss, there is a beautiful, both these products complement each other. So it's not that they compete with each other, they complement each other, and I think both of them can coexist together.
So what I'm getting is credit line expanded the ecosystem, expands the ecosystem, and it's less complicated, is what I get from you, and it is actually getting to more audience. The beauty of this entire conversation is there is one bank here which has scaled both credit cards and credit line. And Niraj, I'm coming to you. I mean, they've just scaled and taken it to a different level, and they were the first ones to actually pioneer the credit line product. So Niraj, thoda, if you can give us a flavor, where is this credit? I know credit card on UPI is scaling, and we've seen that data coming out of the industry also in various reports, etc. If you can just validate what Srini is saying in terms of credit line, it will be helpful because you have first-hand experience.
Sure, thank you. So first, thank you for all of you for being on the last day, last show, and thank you for your time, and thank you for being attentive here. So Mohit, coming to your question, I think credit line at UPI is a product that we've been running for a while, and the product is well accepted by customers for two reasons. One is it has the power of UPI and the convenience of credit.
Yes.
These are the two things that this brings to the table for the customer. And more importantly, we are doing it not for accessibility, but for accessing good customers. So profile of customers is what we are going after. And we have seen good results. We have our colleagues from the credit card group who've scaled up the credit card UPI as well. And we have seen very good results. And like Naveen was saying, it coexists. There is a segment for both, and there are customers who use both these at various different transaction points. And the flavor, to give you a flavor of the transactions that we are seeing on the credit line at UPI, or what we call PayLater at ICICI Bank, we see transactions emerging in grocery, pharmacy. We see transactions emerging in restaurants, in supermarkets.
So these are medium ticket, average ticket size.
So yeah, so I don't know what, with UPI, I don't know what is medium or good. So typically the transaction range is anywhere in the range of 1800 to 2000, which is not a small ticket size.
Yeah, वो UPI के हिसाब से
So from that perspective, it's what I tell the industry is it is freedom or the power of UPI combined with the convenience of credit. If both these can merge together, and today it is offered on the bank's platform, imagine if that's the scale of it when it goes to all TPAPs in the industry.
Yeah. So Kiwi also.
All. So that's what I mean. So that's the power that the product can have, and we as a bank we see that this industry is set up to grow. Just a matter of how we keep our heads above the water in terms of. See, there was a point in time there was the next billion and all that. So that story is gone. So we are looking at how do you give it to good customers and who you can assess well. And if you are able to do that, the story is there.
Definitely broad base, and we are also trying to make sure saying we will use it as a potential tool to select our future customers. We'll also have to be mindful saying what would be the cost of doing this particular experiment. Will it be how much of the book do you want to put at risk at conducting this experiment? Of course, there are certain examples like Niraj has been telling that their bank has been able to conduct this experiment not only well, but I'm sure they are making money. That's why they are talking more about it. But that is another area where each and every institution will have a different risk appetite at different points of time. As an institution, we might be at a different tangent, or at a point of time we have a different risk appetite vis-a-vis a public sector bank or a large private sector bank or even a NBFC. I'm sure if the same opportunity was given to a NBFC, probably the success would have been much more higher because their risk appetite is much larger. Third parties operationalizing it would also mean that which geographies will you operate, how will you do the collections, how will you make sure that your balance sheets look good. All of those things are third pieces. I think again it is also a byproduct of point number 2, which is a policy, but you will also have to make sure saying ki system hai, policy hai, and also collection methodology or some process to make sure that you are taking an informed call in terms of how the book will look or how will it impact your balance sheet.
And it's a fair point because we all know there is over leverage ka risk looming. Plus, as Niraj was mentioning, there is smaller ticket size. You have to be very careful before you scale. And I fully agree with you. It is better to be prudent about before the storm comes, if that's a better way of saying. But just one more question to Niraj and Srini. Also, I'll come back to you. ये सब focus everybody is taking on ETB, right? We know it is scalable, but you want to reach the masses, right? And everybody is now focusing on existing customer because you can underwrite them well, obviously. But the scale will come when you start reaching more audience, which is new to bank. So what is your view? Matlab, is it prudent to go first ETB test and do NTB, or how do you want to approach NTB? NTB, by the way, is new to bank. I don't know. Most of us are bankers here. But.
So no, see, the idea here is to go after customers who you can assess. Whether he or she is new to bank or existing to bank doesn't matter. And we are looking at building this as all organizations would want to build the business brick by brick and see how this shapes up over a period of time. There is no, unlike a product like UPI, which is a customer's money he or she is using. Credit line is always a product where you want to see who you are giving it to. And return off capital and return on capital both are important in businesses. So my sense is what will evolve is there will be a set of customers who will get all types of credit options. There will be a set of customers who may have to prove himself or herself by repaying some loan or the other and proving that they are accessible indeed and they can be given other products as well. So I don't think anybody is going to go after this product to the masses day zero. It is only going to be built brick by brick over a period of time. That's my assessment of this.
Srini, your take, because you were mentioning e-com and all those usage ka aa gaya, but customer acquisition mein, how are you looking at it?
Yeah, so see, essentially, the reason why people, have gone with ETB is very clearly there's a comfort, right? So you want to test the waters first. You know everything about your existing customer, and that's why you say, fine, if I have to give an unsecured line, I rather give it to my existing customer, right? With NTB customers, to be honest, people have not forgotten the experience they had on buy now, pay later, right? There was a time when everybody felt that this is the future, and some of them burned their fingers, right? So everybody is going slow to say that, okay, we learned from our mistakes, but this looks like a no exciting opportunity here. So what do we do now, right? So some of them are trying to say that, okay, can we start with a secured product, right? So tell the guy to sort of open an FD first, and say about 80% of their value, say that, okay, now let me see how you sort of pay back. I may not charge an interest, or you could have an interest bearing product or without interest product. See as to how the guy is sort of repaying, and then sort of explore first, right? So again, talking, when Naveen was talking about why, while everybody wants to sort of onboard NTB customers, I think the comfort is still not there, right? To be honest, I don't think banks have figured out how to underwrite NTB customers, right? And there are models. So when you talk to TPAPs, you could tell them that, okay, let's show me the UPI transaction history, right? Basis that, can we sort of look at giving a pre-approved credit line, right? And also sort of using them to say that, okay, since the customers are transacting on your platform, can you also help me with sort of pre-delinquency management? Because for the kind of ticket size that Niraj also talked about, it absolutely makes no sense for the collection guys, because my collection cost is going to be significantly higher than to recover that money. So then if you are partnering with a fintech, so you not only onboard NTB customers from there based on the transaction history, but you also seek their help to say that, okay, since the guy is transacting on your platform, I also need your help in pre-delinquency management. And as Niraj was saying, it will take some time for all banks to sort of build comfort. They will sort of, ETB is a no-brainer, but you can only scale to a certain point. With NTB, you could start off with a secure product, see how it works, build models based on the UPI transaction history, spends and the financial behavior, and then basically slowly open it up to unsecured, basically without interest kind of product.
नहीं, that's a very fair point. You have to be prudent. हम लोगों ने बाहर बात की थी कि जब आप टीपैप बोलेंगे तो कीवी बोलना चाहिए ideally, but ठीक है, I'll excuse you for that. But we are almost ending our session, and while I will summarize, we are just around 5-6 minutes away. If there are any questions to this esteemed panel, there is 27 hands up. So
Please excuse Mohit for plugging in his brand. You can't, he's compulsive, you can't help it.
नहीं, ये तो हम लोगों ने बाहर, we had rehearsed this. No, but the good part is that we all know the credit ecosystem is going to expand. But I think where Srini was saying na, ki there is delinquency and the cost of collection. मेरे ख्याल just the cost of acquisition and delinquency itself is very high right now in this product till you test it. You're right, and that's where the prudence comes in. We in Kiwi were also thinking there are 350 million unique UPI users, whereas unique carded customers are 30-40 million. So the potential is awesome, but I think the regulator took a prudent call of giving it to the bank because we all play. We want to be very sure before we. Naveen was also mentioning NBFC, but just that we guys, at least the bankers, sorry, not we guys, but the bankers are genuinely very prudent in approaching and scaling any business. So, which is a very good thing. Yeah.
See, one thing I wanted to add to what Mohit was telling is, while we are talking about ETB, NTB, we also have to someday talk about NTC, which is due to credit. That is where probably we'll go beyond the top. I mean, we'll actually start talking about the topic when we are transcending whatever we are addressing at this point of time. That day is definitely far away, but I think it is better to go in steps to that particular thing, because I don't think when we started our partnership with PhonePe, we imagined that we'll be doing a 500 million transactions as an ecosystem on UPI. If the same thing happens, similar, even 1/10 of it is going to happen on credit, which means we definitely have to be well prepared to meet that day.
Hi, this is Mohit here, another Mohit. My question, I have two questions. One is a direct question to Mr. Iyer, and the other one is a more philosophical question to all the three of you. Mr. Iyer, wanted to ask you with regards to new to banking, right? We're seeing a lot of trends coming from the PM Swanidhi program, which is micro loans given to roadside vendors. They start off at 10,000. Once the 10,000 is returned back, 50, and then so on and so forth. Essentially, what we are seeing is the government of India wants the unbanked people, particularly street vendors, to have some sort of credit worthiness being built out. Do you think that is a good foundation block for new to banking to get higher credit lines from legacy brands like yours? Or do you think you will discount that aspect of it?
So, so we have a segment called Bharat Banking within Axis, right? Where earlier we were not exploring these segments, but we have said, okay, let's look at these segments and see if you want to participate, right? So we are currently making some kind of basically some test cases to see whether it is working, not working. So the bank is definitely sort of participating in those. But the results are yet to come out to say that, okay, do we need to expand, right? But as you rightly said, very clearly for the credit line on UPI, the major objective is to get financial inclusion, get these customers who are not carded, who are not in the the financial system, try and see if you can sort of get them in and slowly then migrate them into products like credit card on UPI, and then figure out what you need to do with them, right?
My second question, like I said, it's a slightly more philosophical question here. Since I know Mohit Bedi for a while, I could see that there was an itch in him when he left his last employer to go out and build Kiwi. Hypothetically, if the three of you, and I can see that the three of you come from a legacy of banking, transaction understanding, you've been in the industry for a while. Hypothetically, if the three of you step out today and you had to jointly build something in the fintech space, a gap that you identify that none of your banks can fill, what would that be? It will be a good thing for all the fintech entrepreneurs to be able to build on something that you're giving out.
This is interesting.
So philosophically, I would say that if there is anything that can solve the small businesses, I mean, while we have talked about individuals, merchants, large corporates, these are good pools where we are going after, and then probably it's more or less getting addressed by various players in the industry. But if you see a small unit which has say 15 to 20 employees, is there something that we can offer them at this point of time? Because this has to be thought through, it has to be offered at scale to both make sure that we are making sufficient money on this particular thing. At the same time, it's also offering a convenience. Even if you look at even some startups, right, which has only 5-6 employees, they also have almost all the needs that a large corporation has. But I don't see any specific progress on this space. I think this is still a wide space. It has some area to work on.
Udana, we are short of time. Can we take a couple of more questions, if you don't mind, Mohit? You were asking something. There are two of you there, na?
Hi, sir. Vishal G in this side. So, coming from Viva Money, we are a credit line app, and that's where my question comes up. Naveen sir rightly mentioned in the start that UPI has the power where it have increased the credit consumptions from the customer's point of view. And currently, as we know that only banks has the superpower where they can provide credit line to consumers from the UPI point of view, but not the NBFC. So just want to know the take of the panelists that what do you guys think? Will RBI any day open gates for NBFCs to provide credit line via UPI to be provided to their customers?
Can I take it? The answer is
Out of syllabus hai yaar.
yeah, no hai answer.
Out of syllabus, no nahi hai, out of syllabus.
Okay, this is the end of the session, and I've been here for 3 days, and there is something really ironical. Mohit really pointed out the gap, and Actually, that has not been addressed. UPI became UPI because of the street vendor, right? And unfortunately, in the entire thing, I've been listening a lot of panelists, nobody's talking about him, right? We all are focused on medium, middle income, upper middle income, high income. And, you know, it's all about convenience and all we have gone into. My question is very clear. When will that happen? He said 300 million people, right, still are not there. When, you know, because right now, although banks are making good money because of the middle income is going well, this segment is still not been there. You know, we have now the credit history of this. You know, we have the balance, you know, the kind of transaction he is doing. We have everyone is talking about the data being there. Actually, that data is there. He's doing transactions. I'm the founder of a startup and I'm an ex-banker, 20 years into banking, so I understand banking. This is really, and I meet each one of you, and I am really, you know, perturbed to understand why it is just not moving. Because whatever money he is getting, 10,000 rupees, 50,000, these street vendors earn 50,000 rupees a month. And that transaction data is there. When will we go there? What is stopping us and where it will happen is really, really there. Unfortunately, this 3 days, nobody spoke about him. And this is the 20 crore people are still, you know, families, 80 crore people are getting free ration. They are unbanked. They are still not in the banking stream. They are nowhere there. UPI was that one particular product which could have done. Unfortunately, banks are still not waking up. Why is beyond my understanding. You panelists are there, you can tell it. When will that happen?
So I'll probably just try to address. Yes, that's a very good use case that you have mentioned, and I believe that when I was talking about risk policies currently are primarily looking at formal data. Are they also going to look at informal data and working capital kind of data so that we will be able to give this product as a offering to begin with? So when he mentioned Swanidhi scheme, or when he mentioned some of those even Mudra loans to that extent, these all can be replaced by credit line. You are absolutely right. And like we said, we are right now probably talking about ETB, which means जब भी कोई नया product आता है, first we test the entire end-to-end cycle in terms of making sure the technology is working, the processes around it are working, and then we go and expand. I think maybe a couple of years we should be able to see some good use cases around making sure that this segment is addressed. Point number 2, it's not just about banks. I think Mohit started with the use case that we have been working with some large TPAPs, while Kiwi is a TPAP. They are not into that space, which is about merchant, whether it is a PhonePe or a Paytm. Maybe that is where you may see certain use cases coming up, and probably that problem will be addressed. In terms of distribution, we may take their help to go there.
Done. We are already getting that red light. I just want to thank you, Naveen, Niraj, and Srini. It's been a great. It's looking like actually sitting in a lounge and chatting like friends. But thank you.
Big thank you to everybody.
And
Super thank you to all of you for being here. Last day, last show, and made it for us.
हमने दरवाजे भी बंद कर रखे हैं ताकि कोई निकले ना.
नहीं किया होगा, तुम ही कर सकते हो.
But thank you, guys.